Hi everyone, welcome back. It's great to have you here today on this Friday review. Excited to bring you some book reviews, of course. We've got some product reviews, brand new research that a lot of people have been writing in this spring with questions on that. So can't wait to get into that research as well. That's on chlorinated pools, how to mitigate a lot of those issues. I've got a great product that goes along with that as well, a couple actually. And then we've got a research study on pesticides and actually depression, which there seems to be a link, so we should talk about that. Book review that I talked about, podcast, recap for the week, and of course, we always start with our updates. So let's get over and into that right now. Updates for this week, just a couple for you. Excited to say that we welcomed in our 100 new, like right on the dot, 100 new IHP students in the month of April. So I always just love to welcome a lot of these new students in because they might even be new to the Cabral concept. Many are. And so this is just going to be a really fun journey for these new students. About half of them are in the health profession and half of them are really just starting to learn about health for the first time. So it's always a great group of people from all over the world. We literally certify health coaches from all over the world, as I said, Europe and Australia and South America, all over the US and Canada. And it's really a pleasure to get to meet and talk with all these people because we do monthly calls as well, and just provide them with what I feel is the education that the health coach of the future is going to need. So always great to see that, and we had some great bonuses last month for our 100 new students, and this month for our level 1 and level 2 combination members that sign up for that level, which allows them to also read and understand functional medicine lab tests right at home and have the ability to then do that with friends, family, and also create their own practice from that. Pretty amazing. We are giving away a $400, I believe it's $499 lab test kit, and that is the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins Test. So if you've been thinking about becoming an IHP coach, becoming a certified health coach, and really helping people in a time when people need it more than ever in terms of their overall health and learning to be healthier, this is a great time to do that. And you can head on over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org. You can download our brochure, watch some of the videos. You can talk with an enrollment counselor just to see if it's the right fit for you. So no pressure, but this month, really amazing bonus being given away. Okay. So first, although actually before that, I should have said Happy Mother's Day this weekend. So Happy Mother's Day to my mom, to my wife, to all the mothers and wives, and everyone out there. I think it's really nice to be able to celebrate a lot of the people in our life, a lot of the women in our life that have given us so much and continue to do so. So Happy Mother's Day. I do hope you enjoy the weekend, that you're doing something fun. And if you are a mom, that you're maybe getting a little time off, pampered a little bit if possible, and you certainly deserve it. And the other thing I just wanted to mention before we get into our recap is that it was great to see that people are loving and enjoying the new glass canisters that came in. I don't know how people got them so fast. It's absolutely fantastic. I know that our shipping is definitely good shipping. We're 2 to 3 day shipping to you, but remarkable. Thank you for tagging Achieve Equal Life. Thank you for tagging myself as well. I love to see people pouring their daily nutritional support, the new low waste bags right in that, as well as the daily fruit and vegetable blend if they choose to use it for that too. More on that to come in the future. Little surprise coming later, but okay. So we'll keep it at that. And again, a lot of fun going on over the last month or so inside of our health community. If you haven't already joined cabralsupportgroup.com, it's a free Facebook group. Even if you use Facebook for nothing else, you can join. You can be a part of the community. Well over 11,000 people now. Usually grows by about 1,000, maybe 500 or 1,000 people or so a month. It's just totally grassroots, people referring other people. I do private videos for the group. We always do our detox support in there. It's a lot of fun. And again, it's completely free, nothing to buy. You can ask questions, you can get support from your peers from around the world and from our health coaches as well. Okay, little recap for the week. Hopefully you've been tuned in, but this past Monday, we had episode 1914, and that was 5 signs you need to take a mental health break. So that was an important show for me to do. And it's because like the last 3 weeks for me have been pretty stressful. I mean, they really have in terms of my level of stress. And I try to take life at a little easier. I try to see life for what it is and have great perspective. But sometimes life can be stressful. And we just moved to a whole new location. I had to get a new office up and running here within about 10 days because I had to start filming again. I pre-filmed a bunch of shows and videos and all that. And I was okay, now I got to get back to filming. I have still my team to meet with, and we have all sorts of different things happening behind the scenes, and it's all great, but it's a lot sometimes. And so I think I needed to take my own advice. That was the bottom line. So I give a lot of that advice, and I also tell you the signs to watch for. I know the signs, so I saw them happen to me. I said, okay, breathe. We got to take things back, and that's exactly what I did, and life is good. All right, so check that out. That's episode 1914. Episode 1915 are following the 7 doctors that everyone should be following for optimal health. Episode 1916 is 5 inflammatory foods everyone should avoid. Really, really important. These are just dangerous foods, really dangerous foods that everybody should be avoiding. Melissa Ambrosini's interview came out yesterday. We filmed that a little while back. It was great to be able to connect with her. So many amazing things going on in her life. And we chatted about that yesterday. So check that out, episode 1917. She has really a great new book and philosophy around this thing she calls comparisonitis. And that is our book review for the week. So comparisonitis is important for me to spread that out there. And that's because a lot of our integrative health practitioners as well are getting out there. They're on social media. They're trying to share their message of helping people with health, and might be a niche within female hormones or thyroid or digestion, whatever it is. And, sometimes when you're first starting out, especially, you start to compare yourself to someone else's endpoint. It's like, oh, this person has this many followers and they take such great photos. And it's just all of these different things like, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, this person's better, I'm not as good. And it's all of this comparison that really wears on us at a psychological, but also physiological level, because our psychology through our nervous system affects our physiology. And it's really important because we have to go back and understand this. Listen, you might be at the start to your journey. Good. It's a lot of fun at the beginning of the journey because it's all new, and every day is a big growth day because you're learning so much. So you have to look at it from that perspective, but also from the perspective that, listen, whatever you do in the future, great. But you have to understand going into things, you are already enough. You don't need to be more. You don't need to do more. And you don't need to have more in life to fill any inadequacies that you may feel. They're just inadequacies that are not necessarily real. They were ingrained into us as children, or how we grew up in the world or saw the world, whatever it might be. And again, I'm not saying that things didn't happen when you were younger that led you to these types of beliefs, but we just have to understand that you are enough, you are worthy, and you don't also need to live anyone else's life by anyone else's expectations or ideals. Now, having said all that, you can be more, do more, and have more for you, but don't do it to be like somebody else or to have something that somebody else has. Do it for what you want. Do it for what values you have inside of you. So that's what I took from comparisonitis. And we, of course, had a great interview yesterday. And you should listen to that for sure, because it's a really nice message. But also, you can pick up Melissa Ambrosini's book, which just debuted. And I will link that up today. I'll link up everything today at episode 1918. So you can just go to stephencabral.com/1918 for all of the links from today's show. All right, I'm combining research and a product review all in one. So we've got this and this. Okay, so here's what it is. I moved down to a warmer climate, a good 1,200 miles, something like that, south. And It was a change of life type move for my daughters. Anybody that has kids, you kind of know like, hey, whatever's best for your kids, if you can do it, you want to do it. And that's the commitment essentially that my wife and I have made. It's like, you have phases of life. I've talked about this before. I've talked about this from stage many times, giving seminars. And one day I look to be able to get back to doing those when travel opens back up. But the thing is this, is that we were living in Maine for most of the pandemic, and I love Maine. It's my favorite place in the world. I love it. Yes, it's freezing during the winter, literally freezing. Every day is essentially around 0 Celsius, 30 degrees or so Fahrenheit, and the wind chill makes it in the teens. And it's cold, and it's desolate, and nothing grows, but it's beautiful. And the ocean's right there. If you're near the ocean, the air is so fresh. It's good people. It's hearty people. And I love it. I really do. I love the cold winter. I love the very short spring. I love the 6 to 8 week summer. And then the fall, of course, is the most beautiful time to visit. September and October and November are just the epitome of beauty in New England, like quintessential New England. Anyway, enough of me being a promoter, travel promoter for Maine. But here's the thing. It's also isolating. And since my girls are doing virtual online school and still are through this year, because then they'll switch over to the next school year, hopefully everything will be more normal and we'll go back to schools. But we wanted them to be around more kids. We wanted them to be out in the sun, get some vitamin D for ourselves, for everybody. And so that's what we did. And the place that we're staying at, it's a nice place. It's just a nice apartment building, and they have a pool. And so guess what? Kids love pools. This just in, kids love pools. I think it was probably my favorite thing to do when I was younger, was swim in a pool. Again, grew up in New England, in Medford, and you can only use a pool for like 3 months of the year, maybe 4 months. But as a kid, you kind of don't feel as much cold and you want to go in anyway. So my girls have just been loving the pool. The problem is it's chlorinated, and that chlorine comes along with a lot of detrimental effects in the body. So as much as you want to say, hey, let's do something else besides swim in the pool today. Well, it's hot and the girls love the pool. And this is kind of one of the reasons we came. And we've now met so many kids their age and friends their age that they get to play with. And it's really, it's beautiful. It's a great thing to see. And they love it. And so it's like, well, what are we going to do? And so that's what we do. And so let's say a good 4 days a week, they're in the pool. We try to go to the beach someday, and some days we don't. We just do other things as well. But the problem is that it's not a saltwater pool. So whenever possible, you really want to, if it's your pool, you want to use ozone, you want to use ionization, you want to use UV, you want to use salt. Those are much better things to swim in. It's going to kill bacteria. Now, they use chlorine in public pools. One is because that's mandated. That's actually the way that you kill bacteria and a lot of these chemicals in pools. So it's good because you can't swim in a pool without it being clean, because then you'll get really sick from all the bacteria that grows really quickly within a pool. And that's why people have to also be careful using a lot of the cold plunges that they do and things if there's not a filtration and cleaning system. I'll get to cold plunges in the future. I'll give you certain recommendations. But I just wanted to share that with you. It's kind of like drinking water. It's like, okay, we're lucky to have it, but you still don't want to swallow chlorine. Well, guess what? Chlorine, kids like to swallow water in pools and they spit it out, and that happens a lot. So we try to tell our daughters, stop doing that, don't do that. But also chlorine can be absorbed through your pores. And there is a direct correlation. So this is research now, and I'll get to the product review in a moment. But there is hormone disruption, especially with the thyroid. There is allergy and asthma. Allergies and asthma is a big one, especially more with indoor chlorinated pools. So again, when my girls did swim lessons, we found actually a hotel pool that did saltwater. That was great. But one of the ones before was chlorine. And when it's indoors now, you're breathing in the chlorine vapors. It's even worse than outdoor. So if it's a chlorinated pool, try to make sure it's outdoors if possible. Again, easier said than done if it's the winter and you're in a cold place. But really, you want to be in an outdoor pool because then you're not breathing in the chlorine fumes and vapors, which then leads to more of the asthma potential allergies for sure. Okay, skin issues, intestinal issues can happen. Chlorine, it disrupts the actual flora on the skin, okay, the natural bacteria on your skin. And also, when you swallow chlorine, it disturbs your intestines because it actually kills good bacteria. So these are some of the reasons why chlorine can be dangerous. So it's kind of like, well, what do you do? So this came up with my health coaching team too, because I'm always in touch with my health coaching team, and they asked me. So one of the things that you want to do before you go in a chlorinated pool for yourself or even your kids is just apply coconut oil to your body. Well, there's actually two things you should do. One, you want to rinse off first. This is a big one. You don't rinse off because you're worried about getting your germs into the pool. It's a good reason to, but actually, if you're sweating and your sweat interacts with chlorine, you actually create more chemicals inside of the pool, which then you can absorb more of, called chloramines or chloramines. And so you always want to make sure that you're washing out your hair of just any sweat, you're washing your body, because it actually creates then more chemicals. Not a good thing, especially when it makes that chemical reaction on your skin. So you wash off first, well, again, whenever possible, or at least towel off, and then apply coconut oil. Okay, try to apply coconut oil to the whole body. You don't need to slather it on, although that would be okay, but apply it over the whole body. It does a couple things. One, it creates a barrier from the chlorine entering your skin because it closes those pores a bit. It kind of covers them with oil. But also the nice thing is, if you're worried about the sun, it's not a big SPF, but it's about an SPF 4. So it at least gives you a little bit that as well. And it's not going to allow the chlorine pool to dry out your skin as much. So coconut oil, you can just get a jar of coconut oil. Again, that's really, really cheap. I'll try to link up one of my favorites here today for an organic coconut oil. So just go to stephencabral.com/1918. Will be today's show notes. I'll make sure I put a note right in there right now. Okay, so that's a great thing to do, but there's one more thing you can do. Vitamin C is a great neutralizer of chlorine. So, and chloramines as well. So one thing that we do, and we just started doing this because the research on this, of course, because I want to keep my daughters healthy. Well, one is I don't want to get into the iodine usage today. I might do that on a future show because you need to make sure that you have an issue with your thyroid before you start doing that. So I'll keep that up for another show. But an easy thing that anybody could do is just get one of those nice amber bottles, okay, or blue bottles, glass bottles, put some water in, and then you're going to put in some vitamin C crystals. And since I'm not talking about a disease state, and I'm not claiming any medical advice, and I'm not saying that this is a cure for anything, and I'm not diagnosing any disease, I'm hoping that my FDA regulations team allows me to link this up. If I'm not allowed to link it up, which now that I'm thinking about it, I probably won't be able to because I'm sure I mentioned heart disease or something on this show. Again, there's no claims or cures for that. I'm not saying that. Go to equa.life right now and just search vitamin C. And I'm actually going to do it right now because I wasn't even planning this. So just go to equa.life. And you can also purchase other companies. I'm not saying that you can't. But let's type in vitamin C. All right. So we've got the vitamin C right here. And let's see if I'm going to type in ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid, there it is. Okay. So it's called pure vitamin C crystals. That's what I was looking for. You want vitamin C crystals. These are going to dissolve in water, and you are going to put them inside of your spray bottle. And you're just going to put 1 teaspoon of vitamin C crystals in 2 cups of filtered water. Okay, that's it. So just take your filtered water, put a teaspoon of your vitamin C in there, and you can spray it on yourself or the kids after you get out of the pool and just kind of rub it in. That will neutralize the vitamin C. Okay, another product review though for the day, and I know I'm coming up my time. We use this product in the bathtub with some Epsom salt. So you try to wash off as quick as you can after a chlorine pool. So you always try to shower off. So my girls either take a shower or they'll take a bath. A lot of times they take a bath. And we put in a cup of Epsom salt, but we also put in 1 of these or 2 of these effervescent vitamin C dechlorination tablets, they're called. And the company's name is Vita Bath. There you are. I'll link this up, of course. And this is not, again, to put in the body, not meaning like don't swallow these things, but this you can put right in the bathtub as well, and it just dissolves in the bathtub. And we do 1 or 2 of these bathtubs. You get, 1 or 2 of these tablets, and it's 1,000 milligrams each. And there's 5 times 20, so that's 100 tablets. So this is going to last you 50 to 100 baths. So pretty great. Again, these are just things that I do to try to, again, we don't live in a perfect world. A perfect world, my girls wouldn't be swimming in a chlorinated pool, but alas, they are, right? So I just do my best for mental health. They love it, and that's a great thing. It really is. And so then we just try to mitigate that with all these nice little products. So you've got your alkalizing, sorry, not your alkalizing, your ascorbic acid, your vitamin C crystals, and then you've got your vitamin C that you can just add these to the bath if you're taking a bath. So you use your bath filter, of course, little Epsom salt if you'd like, and your vitamin C. All of that will be linked up today to make it easy at 1918. All right. Last part to the show today, we are going over our second research study besides the chlorine. We are going over children's risk. This goes for everybody, but children's risk, believe it or not, is higher when eating high pesticides foods that include organophosphates and carbamates that are used in commercially grown agriculture. So the organophosphate malathion, which is used for residential use as well for spraying on the lawn, can cause an increase in depression. They're still looking for the risk, but I'm going to give you why the risk may be there because we've already seen in other studies. And this was actually done at the University of California, San Diego, and it was published in uscd.edu under their health-based chart. And of course, I'll link that up. So what does it mean? Well, we know that serotonin, one of the major neurotransmitters that acts as an antidepressant, so your own natural antidepressant, is manufactured in the gut. So 90% of it. So let's just say basically all of your serotonin is essentially made in your gut. Well, when you're eating a lot of these pesticides, they're like, oh, well, it's no harm when you eat just a small amount. Sure. But over time, what happens? Well, it builds up. And it also begins to what? Break down your good gut bacteria and microflora. So when that happens now, you're not producing as much serotonin. You might also have more what? Leaky gut from all the pesticides, which creates what? More inflammation and immune response, which also affects your brain because the gut is connected to the brain. So when we look at this, we say, well, this is totally normal. And children are more susceptible because they don't have the same level of filtration as adults. Again, adults certainly susceptible, but children even more so. How do we know that serotonin and the connection affects levels of depression? Well, when you are diagnosed with clinical depression, you are given an SSRI typically, which is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which means your body's not producing probably a lot of serotonin. So you try to keep whatever serotonin is produced within that synaptic cleft that's able to make the jump when you need it for serotonin. Is that the best thing to do? No, it's not the best thing to do. May you need an antidepressant for a short period of time while you're rebalancing your body? You very well may. And that's being more integrative. That's allowing you to do whatever you need right now in order for you eventually to rebalance the body and get well. So hopefully today's podcast was helpful. Love being able to go through these fun Friday review shows with you. Of course, if it was helpful, please do feel free to pass this show along to anyone else you believe it could serve. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow answering all of our community's questions on the Cabral House Calls. Have a great weekend. Have a great Mother's Day, and I'll talk with you soon.